Jessica just whispered to me moments ago, now there's a mustache, because we were talking about mustaches, and that mustache right there is about 50 years old. Is that mustache indeed a half a century old, Ron Magill?
It's getting there. It's 48 years old.
Wow, congrats.
We should have a celebration at 50. We should do a big celebration for the mustache. Are you happy that that baseball and other sports have made the return of the mustache something that makes you feel less alone now?
Yeah, I think so. I remember the time, remember when the Oakland A's, Raleigh Fingers, that whole team, that was a big mustache time. That was a great time.
It's back, though. You know this, right? I just learned earlier in the show today that the mustache is back. I'd seen them pop up throughout baseball, and I was confused by it. Why are these young people who are very athletic and good wearing ridiculous mustaches? But it's here.
Why are mustaches ridiculous, Dan?
I mean, they all look ridiculous.
Thank you so much.
Not all mustaches, but the baseball players I'm looking at, they all look like they're purposely going for ridiculous.
Well, some of them really, I don't think, have enough to grow a good mustache yet. Some of them are still too young. But, a mustache, when properly grown, properly filled in, is a remarkable trait.
To be fair, some of them are growing them ironically, but Ron's is very earnest. It is a very earnest mustache.
His is ironic.
Oh, boy.
No? Not a...
I went back and checked those A's teams. He was right about Raleigh Fingers. I thought he got caught up at Raleigh Fingers' mustache and, thought the whole team had mustaches, but Ron was right and I was wrong. Catfish Hunter, Gene Tennis, they all had mustaches.
Reggie Jackson, they all had mustaches, resplendent, and now they're back. Let's talk about other things. Let me show you this video from the rodeo. It's out of Oregon. I don't know if you've seen this.
I have. That's scary.
A bull named Party Bus was doing laps to God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood, and it was the final bull ride of the night, and then this ends up happening.
Yeah, he jumped the barrier like a freaking show horse. He just went right over that fence.
Over the fence, through the concession stand.
Oh, wow. Lord have mercy. There's a lot of sphincter muscles that loosened up right there.
Yeah, out to the parking lot.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, he tossed that lady like a piece of styrofoam.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Is she okay?
Well, 3 people were injured is what they say, but there are not enough details here. And the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association says, quote, while rodeo is a highly entertaining sport on very rare occasions, it can also pose some risk. And I don't think I've ever asked you this. Why is rodeo still a thing?
I don't know. I think it comes from just the old macho, ranchers, the guys who went out there and, had to work animals that way to work the ranch. And it became kind of an offshoot of that. And it's part of a culture, really. It's part of a culture, not necessarily that I'm all fond of. What I'm amazed at looking at that video, those people didn't even move. Did these people not see this 1,000-pound bull running at them? They just, that woman who got flipped, she never even flinched before she got flipped. Look at that video. I don't understand it. I don't understand how they didn't move.
I don't either. Like, is it better to just be completely boneless and liquefied when you're being hit by a bull, or is it better to tense up?
Hey, bull.
It's better to get the hell out of the way. That's the better thing to do.
You always tell us to stare the animals down. You tell us to stare it down. Don't panic. Don't run away.
That's the bear.
No, not a bull, Stugotz. It's a bear.
How do we keep track of these things?
Right.
Understand, when you look at a bull, guys, what does a bullfighter do to get the bull come at him? He waves the red thing, right? He's making, hey. He's going like, hey, bear, but hey, bull. But this, with the bull, it means come get me, and the bull does. Different animals.
I read that the woman who got flipped ended up getting released from the hospital and went back to the rodeo the next day.
Wow.
Yes.
Brave.
I did hear that nobody had life-threatening injuries or any long-term injuries. Just a couple of bumps and bruises. But those people are all very lucky because that bull was on a roll.
How rare is the bull death? The bull-related human death?
I think it's pretty rare, unless you get severely gored. Every now and then you hear the people are running with the bulls in Spain. There's been a couple of deaths in history of those things. Another, reflection of humanity being stupid. But it's rare that they're killed by a bull. But, there have been people paralyzed. There have been people gored. There's some really serious injuries that can happen from them. Oh, God. Why are these? They don't even move. Look, they just stand there like bowling pins. What is that?
10 per year, Dan.
Okay, thank you,
Stugotz.
Ron, that's not an attack, right? That's just a panicked animal, correct?
Yeah, that's an animal running, get out of my way. That's an animal running. Get out of my way is what that animal's doing. Those people didn't move. I still can't believe it. I've looked at that video 20 times, and those 3 people stood there like bowling pins. Like, what? You think the bull's going to run around you?
But when does a bull want to fight, though, Ron? Because that is just all you're telling me is that's the behavior of a giant, deadly animal that it doesn't know it's being giant and deadly. It's just scared.
It's certainly scared, but a scared animal can be a very dangerous animal. Don't think that anytime an animal comes at you, that's always saying, "Oh, I'm macho and I'm going to take you out because I know I can." It's a reflex of a defensive action is what is happening.
Ron,
and that bull is doing just that.
I don't mean this as a joke question. Is there any significance to the fact that woman was wearing red?
It could be. It could be. I mean, we all know how the bullfighter wears the red cape to get that bull to come at him.
There's a very interesting article on Nature.com that reports that some animals' calls are specific to individuals similar to a person's name. And the headline is, "Do elephants have names for each other?"
Yeah, that just came out in National Geographic, and they show that they do. And this has especially been documented with mothers and their calves, that mothers make sounds that basically relate to the name of the calf. These sounds are so individualized that they are basically saying the name of the calf. And, I wholeheartedly believe that. We've talked many times about elephants, how incredibly intelligent they are, how incredibly social they are, how they communicate with each other. It's a very social animal. So, it doesn't surprise me at all that they have names for each other and that they call them by their names.
I'd like you to meet. And this is my other son.
But that's a cow. Okay, that's a cow. That's a really bad cow there, Chris. No, elephants are much different.
Ron, I saw a video of a drive-through safari in Texas where they were kind of taking a family through or whatever, and a giraffe went and picked up a toddler out of the back of a pickup truck, it looked like. How far was that going to go with that giraffe had the parent not intervened?
Not far. The giraffe was not doing that in an aggressive way at all. The giraffe was looking for food. She put the food close to her chest, and the giraffe grabbed the T-shirt by accident. And once he lifted the kid up, the giraffe just dropped the kid. The giraffe did not drop the kid because anybody hit it or anybody attacked it or anybody screamed. The giraffe realized, oh, this is a lot heavier than that whatever food I was trying to get, and just dropped it. That's not an aggressive move by a giraffe. Giraffe aggression is done when they swing their head and neck like a baseball bat. They don't bite.
Animals never do anything wrong to you guys. I mean, the bull wasn't wrong in the last video. The giraffe's not wrong here.
About some accountability.
Can the giraffe just be wrong?
Let me ask you something, Chris. If somebody was, roping you and riding you with a cinch around your abdomen to make it uncomfortable, and you're really working hard to get this person off because it's so uncomfortable and beyond uncomfortable, sometimes even painful, how are you going to feel towards that person?
In love.
Sexy.
Okay, so you're one of those.
Baby.
Oh, God.
So, Ron, can you, I want to play something else for you here. This is a biker. I don't know where this is exactly. And he's just riding along on a bicycle. And then what jumps.
Oh, the leopard gets him. I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
A leopard. What? A
leopard. That's a leopard.
I know, but you're saying yes. You're celebrating that a leopard jumped out from the jungle and attacked a man on a bicycle.
That's a clean tackle.
Well, he should have been biking in the bike lane, Dan. The animal's never at fault.
And, Ron, what do you make of what happened here? Because I'm assuming that was to eat. Leopard was attacking that to eat.
I don't think it was to eat. No, I don't. I think that was pure aggression that was experienced by that leopard by humans, either, stoning it or something like that in the past. Listen, Dan, in India especially, there's so much growth. There's so much population growth. People are just, moving into the habitats of these animals. And these animals are kind of starting to fight back. So that is an unusual experience there. But I have seen the thread on social media channels, showing several leopards coming at people, usually in these urban areas. And that's just because, they're being pushed to the limit. So that was an attack. If he wanted to consume that guy, it would have grabbed him and bitten his neck and killed him right there and held on to him like it does with its normal prey. But that was just coming at him, bite, scratch, and get the hell out of Dodge.
It's been nearly 20 years of this show, and I'm just making this connection. So, Dan, for years, people accused you of being like an athlete apologist, and we're just now pointing together. Ron's an animal apologist, and this may be why this marriage is working out.
That is correct.
Yeah.
But he's not wrong.
No, he's Ron.
Thank you, Jessica.
Wrong, Magill.
Ironic. Can you explain to me though the reason that I thought that it might be in an attack is only because I thought, and you're right, obviously it would go for the neck, but I thought that being out amongst cars and stuff would be such a panicking situation, survival, that the animal knows it's got to kill on the first strike, and it's attacking a bicycle, so it's attacking something that's unknown. You're just saying that's an act of get out of my area.
Yeah, that was an aggressive attack, pure aggression, and my suspicion is that leopard has had a negative experience with humans prior to that. There's a whole thread of those leopard attacks. You'll see one actually trying to jump through the windshield of a truck trying to get after a guy. Okay, these are animals that have been in one way or another negatively impacted by humans, whether it's people throwing sticks at them, stones at them, shooting at them, whatever it is. Listen, animals remember things. Don't think that they don't remember things, and don't think that animals will not fight back. They will.
The elephant you will always mentioned as one of the smartest, but when we talk about an elephant possibly relating to names, calling its children names, what is the next species you would think capable of that? You always do elephant and dolphins with smart. Is there another species that might surprise me because you think they might have names for each other?
Well, like you said, dolphins, all the cetaceans, all the whales, all of the cetaceans, I think their language is so diverse and so meticulous. I mean, I think cetaceans probably have that, of course, elephants. And we have seen in some chimpanzee cultures certain different languages. And I don't want to say languages, I should say dialects, because they're kind of offshoots of the same language. But just like we have dialects of different people, you hear someone speak English sounds different in, London, or sounds different in Sweden than speaking English in the United States. The accents or the dialects can be different within the species. And I think chimpanzees, a lot of those primates have those same types of varieties.
Ron, I wanted to ask you about Gertrude the flamingo, a 70-year-old flamingo that I read laid an egg recently at a nature preserve. Is that, how unusual is that for a 70-year-old flamingo?
70-year-old flamingo to lay an egg is very unusual. For there to be a 70-year-old flamingo is not tremendously unusual, though it's certainly on the very high end of their lifespan. Wow. We have flamingos here at the zoo that were here during Hurricane Andrew, which was, 30-something years ago. So, and they were adults when Hurricane Andrew came through. So they're in their 40s and 50s. So flamingos are long-lived birds, but having one lay an egg, now I would be very surprised if that egg was fertile. So that would take it to another level. But for her to produce an egg in and of itself at that age is pretty extraordinary, but I highly doubt that it would be fertile.
Ron, I was going to ask you that. Do flamingos lay unfertilized eggs like chicken? And if so, what do they taste like?
Oh, Billy.
Wow.
Yeah, any bird can lay an unfertilized egg. I've never tasted a flamingo egg. I don't know what it would taste like. But, ostriches, they make ostrich omelets all the time in Southern Africa. They have them on ostrich farms. So all eggs have the ability to be eaten. Some, I would imagine, taste different than others, but they all have kind of the same contents, the yolk, the egg white, and they're full of protein, and people eat them no matter what. I mean, eggs are the favorite diet of so many different animals in the wild kingdom.
Well, I did read that Gertrude was flirting with a 37-year-old male named Gil.
Baby.
So
Wow.
she's living
Let's
my
go.
grandma's dream.
Wow. All right. Gertrude, put it on the poll, please, Juju. Do you know any Gertrudes under 70 years old? Thank you, Ron. Good talking to you.
Always great, guys. Have a great week.
Time now for Stugotz's weekend observations.
What happens?
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, just 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, it's my second favorite week on the sports calendar. Pinehurst number 2, God's country, extra thick fairways, huge natural sand areas, greens that run a 10 on the stimp meter. The ghost of Payne Stewart's dramatic win in 1999. Another major champion will be crowned. And Dan, Make no mistake about it. Just like that, U.S. Open week is back.
Stugotz, I'm sorry. I was distracted during that because...
Stimp meter?
No, I just noticed that behind Billy, they've put on the televisions the Clevelander window.
Whoa.
And so I just went flying into the past back there visually because that's not a window.
I miss it.
And that is not. I just
That brings me back.
I just got lost.
I drove by it the other day.
Really?
It started shaking. Yeah.
There's a video that the Clevelander put out of 50 Cent by himself there on Sunday. Like they had a whole section like roped off for him or whatever, but it was just 50.
I'm sorry, I was distracted by that, Stugotz. I don't know who did that, but it's brilliant. It just brought
It's
me
great,
back in
yes.
time. I got legitimately
I'm more
confused.
comfortable.
I just asked Billy a second ago, how long has that been up there?
If you missed it, by the way, Dan, U.S. Open week is back.
Yeah, I don't believe you on that it's your second favorite
It
week
is.
of the year.
Yeah,
I don't think all of the football weeks are more of a big week for you
I
than
think
that.
Masters and Super Bowl week.
Masters is number 1, U.S. Open number 2, Super Bowl week number 3.
You're just
I get
saying
sad during Super Bowl week. I do. It's the end of football. It's bittersweet. Speaking of back, after flying across the country to record part 2 of his exclusive sit-down with George Sedano, Dan, you
That's right.
are back.
I am back.
You were back yesterday.
We didn't get Sedano this time. No.
What happened?
Ted Danson instead.
Really?
Wow.
Sam?
How about that?
That's right.
Wow.
Name another character.
Ted
Wow,
Danson and Curb.
Really?
I can't.
Really?
Well, he plays
The
Ted
Good
Danson.
Place?
It was a good character.
Yeah, the good place. I mean,
I
come
don't
on.
Sam Malone. I mean,
Most people of this generation don't know Sam.
That's what he said. He said it's
terrible
the,
generation.
It's the good place now. It's not Cheers
It's
for him.
yeah, it's the good place.
How is his hair?
Excellent.
always.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
People accuse it of being fake.
Does he smell good?
He does.
I bet he smells good.
Yeah.
He also could have been the dad in Poltergeist, but the aforementioned Tom Selleck, he was fighting him in Magnum P.I., and then they noticed, Spielberg noticed he had a bald spot, and he just didn't make him the dad in Poltergeist.
Really?
Spoiler alert.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't give it all away.
It was 90 minutes.
The Chicago Bulls plan to hire Billy Donovan III, son of Billy Donovan, to coach their NBA G League team. Apparently, they use the new job search firm called nepotism.com.
He works hard.
Hey, London, the Mets, you can have them. Headline, Flava Flav order the full Red Lobster menu in an attempt to save the Cheddar Bay biscuits following bankruptcy. Not all heroes wear capes, Dan. Some wear clocks. Paul Skeens throws a splinker. Hey, baseball, stop making up pitches. Is it a splitter or a sinker? Make up your mind.
Make up your mind,
Oh,
Skeens.
Jesus.
A splinker.
James Harden said he wants to be remembered as a winner. Hey, James, got some bad news for you. It's too late. Imagine hearing that it's too late on being a winner. Too bad for James. Rough day. In the event you aren't keeping score at home, and if you are not, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Greg Cody has taken a commanding 2-0 series lead over Mike Johnson.
A big week for Greg Cody. A big year for Greg Cody. A late career resurgence. The Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody climbing up
Fine.
your charts.
Thank you.
Mike Johnson, your serve. The C in Greg Cody stands for Conn Smythe.
Dad, you know what that is?
It's a trophy, MVP. Is that the
He
MVP
put the
trophy?
con in Conn Smythe.
There you go.
You and me both.
Greg Connie.
Hey, Harden, you want to know what would have helped with that whole remembered as a winner thing? Winning!
Yeah, there's that.
Yelling at him. Death, taxes, and Swiatek on the red clay. 3 straight. She's amazing. Mets owner Steve Cohen said he likes the food better in London than in New York. Hey, Steve.
Come on, man.
The first rule of owning a team in New York is never admitting another city does anything better than New York.
But that one's ridiculous.
It's absurd.
I mean, that's come on.
You can't have every free agent signing be a bad one. Your team can't be in a worse place now than it was when you purchased the team, and then you say that. You can't do it. It's a rule.
I feel like people conflate like British pub food with the food in London. Those are, I would say, two different things.
You think he's eating in the fanciest of restaurants there. He's not eating fish and chips.
Which even I'm a big fan. It's pretty good.
Little shepherd's pie.
Oh, I love shepherd's pie.
Blood sausages.
Little game I like to call multiple choice. You know what the S in Steve Cohen stands for, Dan?
I do not.
Is it A, sell the team, B, stay in London, C, shut up, or D, all of the above?
Yeah, it's all of the above.
Yeah. Good.
It's amazing what's happened there. He spent all the money, and they're the worst.
They're rebuilding.
Oh,
on a $326 million payroll.
That's just unbelievable. What a bad move all of that has been. He has spent so much money to be the worst.
You don't compound it. That's what I'm saying by saying London's food is better than New York's.
I mean,
you don't do it.
Like,
So what are you doing?
One of the things we do all the time in this country is we think that the people who have money are smarter than everybody else, and they're not.
And the problem with that is it emboldens cheap spending teams like the Marlins to do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the worst part of that. The worst part of that is there is a fool running the Mets.
Yeah. Mike McDaniel starts every meeting 24 minutes after the hour since it's been 24 years since the Dolphins last won a playoff game. Hey, Mike McDaniel, get over yourself. If they win a playoff game this year, I can promise you it won't be because your meeting started at 8:24. It's absurd.
Get over yourself, McDonald. You dared to have
McDaniel.
meetings. Excuse me. Yes, that is a fine, a big one. You dare to have a meeting at a time that I don't approve of.
Mick overrated.
Well said.
Thank you. A belated happy 6-9 day to the entire Gronkowski family. Athletes that connote 6-9 day. OLI. James Harden. Dick Butkus. Richie Sexton. Number 5, Reggie Tongue. Number 4, Sixto Lascano. The whole list was for that. Number 3, Jeff Conine. Niner. Number 2, Dick Paul. And number 1, Oral Hershiser. Keep an eye on the Reds.
Cody loves that. Look at Cody. Look how delighted Cody is.
For the love of a Dick Pole.
You know what the C in Connor McDavid stands for? It stands for couldn't hold a candle to Wayne Gretzky. You know what the E in Evan Rodriguez stands for? It stands for everything Connor McDavid was supposed to be.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
And how South Florida is that? Rodriguez has knocked off McDavid through 2 games. Rodriguez can't be stopped. There's a person in the Stanley Cup final named Rodriguez who's scoring more goals than anybody.
Yep. I love it.
How is that possible?
Last week, Greg Cody said he doesn't like to gloat. Greg Cody, gloating for the remainder of time. Collision course. The G in Greg Cody stands for gloat. Using metal bats never seemed fair to me.
I am scared for the first baseman, the pitcher, and the third
agree.
baseman every time someone swings in college baseball.
Everyone in college baseball is batting .345.
Because of those bats.
I hate the sound, too. It's awful.
I don't mind the sound. Do you like the sound of an aluminum bat at Le Batard Show? Put it on the poll. I think most people like the sound of that.
Florida's Joe Caglione can mash. Cags, only SEC player ever to hit 30-plus homers in back-to-back seasons. Taylor.
I was going to say Ethan.
Do anybody listening to this know who you're talking about?
Gags?
Taylor and Ethan?
Everyone
the
does.
The reference you're making?
Yeah,
Have you established?
Gags.
Everybody knows it's canon,
Have you
Dan.
established the characters of Taylor and Ethan, or
Yes,
you're just
yes,
talking
yes,
to
yes,
each other?
Yes,
It's also Jack, not Joe.
tomato.
No, that's a fine for you. You owe Jessica money here. That's a fine for you.
Really?
Yes, you've not been paying your fines. Cody's
What?
not been paying his fines. Cody owes you a bunch of money. Jessica, I'm the only one around here paying his fines. You guys owe all sorts of money to Jessica.
I've
How
never
much do
been
I owe
fined.
for that? I mean, I don't have it.
You do have it. We just saw it.
You get change for a 20?
Got change for a
I'll
1.
Venmo you.
Venmo.
For everyone getting upset over the Caitlin Clark snub, do me a favor, I dare you. Name another Olympic snub over the last 10 years. Anybody?
I don't understand.
Everyone's
Candace
getting
Parker?
upset. Caitlin Clark got snubbed from the Olympic team, and everyone's making a big deal about it. And I'm just saying, no one made a big deal when some others got snubbed from an Olympic
Well,
team.
Candace Parker, yeah.
Okay.
So there's
I'm
one.
saying people who started paying attention to the sports over the last 6 months.
I
Thank you.
get what you're saying.
Are you just
Thank
going
you.
for easy applause, or?
I wasn't even an observation. I didn't even have it written down. It was just a random
I
take
was
in the
so
middle of
confused. I'm
observation.
like, where did that come
It's
from?
not on the sheet.
Wow, an ad lib
He
observation.
just wanted some easy applause. He knows what the notes are that he has to hit to just
It's
get some
absurd.
easy
All of a
applause.
sudden, everyone cares.
But it was confusing because there was previously a big snub.
The only thing worse than losing a UFL bet is losing a UFL bet and having to listen to an Acho call the entire game.
And Acho?
Yeah, just one of the Acho guys.
It was that annoying.
It's pretty annoying, and I lost the bet. Compounded it.
You're complaining about the broadcaster in a UFL game.
I had to lash out at somebody, and Acho got it.
Championship weekend this weekend.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
The reporter that thought she was talking to Vince Young, but wasn't. It happens.
Happened to you a year ago this month
Yeah,
with the quarterback of your football team in the New York Jets.
yeah. It was a country music singer.
That's amazing. We didn't do enough with that.
It's one of the funniest
we
moments
didn't
in my
do it.
entire
And he
life.
doesn't know what the Jets quarterback looks like, and he confuses him with Jake Owen.
Had a hell of a year.
Mets, Phillies, in England got me thinking about people in sports who connote a European city or country. Mark Portugal. Alex English. Paris Campbell. Number 5, Jim Rome. Number 3, Sarah Spain.
Wait a minute. What was number 4?
Number 4, Sarah Spain.
How do you not know how to do a top 5 list?
Number 3, Brock Berlin. Number 2, Drake London. And number 1, Jeff Ireland. In this week's edition of June, David Njoku said Ken Dorsey's offense is juicy. What does that mean?
It sounds good. I would like a juicy offense.
I'm not certain you could say you won the French Open if you didn't have to play Nadal in the finals. I'll get back to you on this. No Djokovic, no Nadal. That's tough. No Nadal, that's tough. Try saying that after 3 hours of speaking. Anyway, where was I?
No Nadal. I'm just saying where you were.
And no
Thank
one's
you.
saying that Alcaraz isn't good. Like, he is really good.
He's
He's
great.
pretty good.
Yeah,
So
but you have
I
to
feel
beat
like that
Nadal,
doesn't apply.
Djokovic. You have to. I
Yeah.
feel like you have. I'm not sure yet. I'll get back to you on it. Still thinking about it. I don't have a college baseball team, but I want one. Just because of how awesome a super regional sounds. Oh, God, I want a super regional. Darren Waller retiring after one season with the Giants. The biggest loser in all of this, us. Because now he has even more time to focus on his music. Marcedes Lewis re-signed with the Bears. As long as there's an NFL, there will be a spot on someone's roster for Marcedes Lewis.
Is it 20 years now? How
I think
long?
it's 19.
Are you kidding me?
Next year he'll be Ferrari Lewis, though.
Marlins reliever A.J. Puck is 0-7 this year with a 7.30 ERA. More like A.J. Suck. 19,250 Panther fans at the bank on Monday, Dan. Congratulations to the 18,000 who attended their first game.
That's not fair.
Sunrise, Florida, Hockey Town. This weekend, the Yankees were selling a hat with one side being Aaron Judge and the other Shohei Ohtani. And all I could wonder was, who the hell was that made for? Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Juju, put it on the poll, please. Is Marcedes Lewis playing 18 NFL seasons one of the most amazing things you've ever heard? At Le Batard Show. How many games is that? Because he doesn't miss a lot of games either. He's always out there.
The stat is crazy because he has played over 18 years, 268 career games. What's more mind-blowing? LeBron James has played more playoff games in the NBA.
More playoff games than Marcedes Lewis has had games, 268. It always does have to come back to LeBron.
How many good seasons, though, has Marcedes Lewis had? I mean, it feels like maybe 2, maybe.
Well, enough. What's a good season? Because enough to get rehired every season for 18 seasons when the entire position is different, but not the one person who plays it. Because he's been around long enough that they were a different size when he started.
Wow, never made a Pro Bowl.
Right.
What are the odds? Literally, what are the odds?
Stumble into one.
Okay, now we've
someone doesn't want to play.
Right, so it's either one of the most amazing things I've ever heard, or Greg, Cody, and Stugotz are here to tell you how it's not amazing at all because he kind of stunk, didn't he?
He made it in 2010.
All right, good job, Dad.
And they can't read the internet. It's an
I
added
didn't say
bonus.
it.
No, I understand. But it's just doing the show with two of you on Tuesdays.
My dad's like a dog with a bone on this.
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
He's going to keep looking.
Oh, he had
I'm
10
looking at the
tutties.
stats.
He had 10 tutties, 2010. I mean,
That was 15
That's his
years
Pro Bowl
ago.
year.
Who could have seen the
His prime.
Marcedes Lewis show coming on a Tuesday?
You
in
couldn't
June?
have seen it coming from any angle. One of
Only on the Le Batard Show.
One of the funny things that just happened here that is behind the scenes a little bit. Billy, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I don't know if there's anyone around here in our entire world who enjoys Stugotz's weekend observations more than Greg Cody.
good friend.
Greg, well, but it's not just a good friend. Like, it's not because he just loves you. It's because Greg Cody has a special appreciation for the one-liner. He has been writing that as a Sunday column that you've never read, Stugotz, for about 25 years. I think it's one of Greg Cody's most long-standing benchmarks. Do you want to take a guess, Stugotz, what he names that column, a column in the market that if you were reading sports for the last 20 years and you were the friend that he is, you might have read one time in 20 years?
Weekend wrap.
It is not the Weekend Wrap. It has got a strange name. It's
Something about a bird.
No, it's not. It's not an upset bird either. That's his weekly picks column that is on Thursday. First of all, Greg, is this your most long-standing featured landmark journalistic item? This notes column.
Okay, I don't want to embarrass you, who obviously haven't read it either for a long, long time, but I haven't written the random evidence column in a long, long time.
Oh, wow.
It used to be. And to your point, I love a one-liner, and that's old school journalism. Like Edwin Pope wrote one of those, Bernie Lincecum, all of these old sports columnists who were my mentors.
Tim's dad.
The classic Sunday Notes column used to be one-liners like that.
The art of the pithy headline also, as newspapers and magazines now go by the wayside, it's really a lost art, Greg.
Yep. No, you're right.
Let's bring it back, Greg.
Bring it back, Jack.
Me and you together.
Bring it back, Jack. I like that. I gotta write down that phrase. Bring it back, Jack.
It's
you use it all the
your
time.
phrase.
Oh yeah, it is my phrase. Yeah, you're right. I got so many, I can't keep track of them all. No.
It's also Jack Buck's book, by the way.
Jack Back book.
His autobiography.
All right,
yeah.
Greg.
What's that called?
Greg, go sit in the
Bring it
penalty
back,
box.
Jack.
No
It's-
way.
Yeah, by
Greg.
Jack
no,
Buck.
No,
Yeah.
way. That can't be true.
Greg,
What?
the show's moving a little
Lawyer
fast
out.
for you. Go sit in the penalty box for 2 minutes because
I need a break.
you're just shouting rhymes
He's
in various
acknowledging.
directions.
He's
Yes.
acknowleding.
No,
I'm trying to compliment his
go outside. Yeah,
said he
well
needs a
put.
break.
Go,
Get out
though.
of here.
Actually
Just
go.
get out of here.
Whatchamacallit,
I'll
though.
miss
Yes.
you. I'll miss you.
Thank you, Greg,
you.
for
Love
all of your good work. You have been a star for a couple of years.
He only slept like 2 hours.
Yep.
You can be
Hopped up
forgiven
on meds, Dan.
for being terrible. Look at him. Look at him drinking vigorously from a cup, not going to the penalty box in the other room.
He does what he wants.
Chris, but this is, yes.
We're going to get that dance he does soon where he like puts like one hand behind his back. I can feel that coming.
Chris, this is what I genuinely want
There
to
it is.
Go down this path with you. You really know your father. It's one of the great delights in listening to the Greg Cody Show featuring
That's
Greg
not
Cody.
the penalty box. He's going. He's
Yes,
just leaving.
He's
He's
just
going
on.
home.
Chris, I really want for you to explain to the audience what a amazing both honor and pain in the ass it has been to be the producer on his podcast as all of it has gone to his head, because he really does believe at this point that any syllable he says rhyme a word. He believes everything coming out of his mouth is gold. He has never had more popularity and success in his career than he's having right now with this resurgence.
And people get mad at me because I get frustrated with him, and they tell me I'm too mean. What people say to you on this show, that's what I get on his show. So I enjoy it, but it's a little frustrating.
He's having a moment. Let the man enjoy it. I mean, he's having a great moment.
Look at him. What is he? What moment is he having? He's not doing anything.
He just ran out of gas on the
What do you
show
mean?
in a way that he even acknowledged, because all he had was Jack, Buck, Juck, and then he just folded his cards. Because at the end of 3 hours, there's nothing left in the tank. He's an old man, and we are taking all of the fumes that he has left, and we're trying to make gold out of all of them. And as an added bonus, he thinks everything he does is Emmy worthy, that he thinks that there's no one better at this than he is. No one's funnier. No one's better off the cuff. No one's more important, and no one deserves this stardom more than he does.
Him maximum.
We should put him on the USA basketball team.
Yeah.
In Greg's defense, some NASCARs run out of gas at the end of races. So
It's important that you defend Greg in these circumstances. It's been a good career move for you. Jessica, I want to ask you about something that I think is super unusual, because over the last 10 days, I have wanted to tell a lot of men and just a lot of people around sports, we can learn here, because we're not going to pretend like we've been paying attention to the WNBA and know how to actually break down the games, because we have some expertise about the players involved. We can listen to the people who have been there and not just try and create entertainment around this thing. But when it comes to Caitlin Clark, I have found myself watching what's happened over just the last 10 days and been interested in this part of it, which is like, okay, we're really going to do this. We're going to make her controversial, even though there's nothing controversial about her. We're just going to dump all of the symbolism on her and have the conversation about just her. And we're kind of going to be idiots about it. So as these numbers all skyrocket, right? Because there was a game that was supposed to be played last week in a 4,000 seat stadium. They moved it, and in a half hour, they sold out a 20,000 seat stadium. As these numbers all skyrocket, and we see the discourse get dumber because a lot of men are fumbling around trying to keep up on this, what am I to do with just the smartest commentary you've heard on whether Caitlin Clark was snubbed, whether it's good to market the sport because she's super famous, or if that's a spot that needs to be earned on an Olympic team to represent our country?
Well, I think first, what to do is to just, cover the games well. And I think, we could really use this as an opportunity to get people like Monica McNutt and Andrea Carter and Shanae Gumake on our show to, help us with that, because I find that, me and Lucy and Juju are probably the only three that are really watching the games religiously. So it's obviously, it's difficult to have a conversation with that. That's why we started the F1 Minute, right? Because, we're not going to all sit and discuss F1, so I get a minute.
We're doing
and
it with
that's the whole
hockey now,
thing.
and people are getting really mad at it. And if you don't allow it now, you're never going to allow it.
Yeah, but at least there's multiple people here most of the time that watch hockey, so there can be more of a conversation. With us, I find that no one wants to listen to me just ramble about the Fever Sun game probably. So it kind of is tough because of that, and I think that's why there's a great opportunity to get players on and get reporters and journalists on and stuff like that are really well versed in it, to talk about the actual games, because I think that there's so much conversation about the conversation and so little about how the Fever played last night, how Caitlin's been playing, Dejanay Carrington having a great season for the Sun, Alyssa Thomas having a great season. The players that actually made the team are all extremely deserving of it. And just because some people maybe haven't heard of their names before doesn't mean that they don't have Olympic hopes and dreams too. A lot of them are first timers, and this is a career achievement for them. And if you've been following the USA basketball camps and the reporting from the camps and things like that, I think there was some surprise that she didn't make it because of her season at Iowa this year and last year, and like the way she played in college. And sometimes the USA team does bring a rookie and a young player with them, but they lost a lot of really good veteran talent after Tokyo. And so it seems like, based off of the interviews I've heard from the selection committee, they really wanted to lean on experience for this cycle because they feel like the easiest way to win gold is to have players that have played together and have chemistry together and have played for their coach before in the camps to be on the team. And so Caitlin, because the Iowa has been so good the last few seasons, has missed a lot of the senior USA basketball camps, which is not her fault, but she, I think, is probably the only one who's actually handled it normally. Her quotes last week when she was asked about how she felt finding out that she missed the team, I thought were very poised, and like what she answered very well. She admitted like she was, not disappointed, but she understands how difficult it is to make the team. It's just, like you said, it's become more than just a basketball conversation now. Like, she's become an avatar for a lot of people to be engaged in a conversation that they don't really know a lot about.
She's
or understand
not
a
in
lot
any
about.
way controversial. She has not had a misstep, correct?
She's handled all of this very well.
To be a polarizing figure, you understand she's doing nothing to contribute to that. Nothing.
Yeah, and I think now it's gotten to the point where, like, I think some people want her to maybe say something to stop some of the hot takes that have been happening on her behalf, but she hasn't done that yet. And I don't know if that's necessarily like a fair place to put a young athlete in, because like you said, she has really kind of said and done the right things. And so the whole conversation happening around her, I think, just kind of sucks. And it'd be better just to cover the sport. And then when an announcement like that happens, there's not so much like shock and outrage, because you understand that in the context of USA basketball and the WNBA and the players that are on that roster, the players that they're sending to Paris are all extremely deserving. I've heard the argument that you add Caitlin Clark to increase the ratings and boost the marketability and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think USA basketball would tell you they want to win a gold medal. This is a opportunity for Diana Taurasi to win her 6th gold medal, which is something that is like almost incomprehensible in a team sport. It's an opportunity for all of these players that have earned it by being in the camps and by playing exceptionally well. There's MVPs going, there's all-stars going, there's just veteran excellence on this roster. I don't know who you take off to add Caitlin Clark. And would NBC probably get a little bit of a boost if she were on the team? I'm sure she would, but I don't also think she would play that much because she is a young player. And I think fans would then be outraged by that. So, like, what are we talking about here?
One of the narratives, overstated, I think, has been the quote-unquote resentment from other players in the league. You don't think that would have been worse if they gave her a spot on this roster just for ratings? Like, I'm not saying that the resentment's a real thing. I think it has been overstated, but this is helping that. If people think that she's being resented, I don't know how to speak.
She is being resented, and it's obvious that anybody who came in that position would be tested by the entire competitive ecosystem of, do you know what these women have endured to get where they are on the backs of a lot of work and not a lot of attention for her to get all of it? It would be normal human emotion to resent all of the attention that person was getting. My favorite part of what's happened over the last 10 days, though, is just the general presumption and arrogance of just everyone who just got here with snub, dumb, I don't know anything, but dumb choice, snub, yeah. And now you're telling people who have real expertise, excuse me, you're going to need to hear me on this, dumb snub. And like that's what we're doing because we want to get in the conversation that we're late to.
I think the only loser here is NBC, truly, because I'm not exaggerating when I think that Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA right now the equivalent of Lionel Messi lifting MLS in America. But I think not putting her on the roster is 100% justifiable. And more than that, I think it's good for Caitlin Clark. Okay, she went straight from a long NCAA career right into the WNBA, had a real aggressive, rough start to that season. I think emotionally and physically, I imagine she can use the 2-week rest. I think this is good for all concerned except NBC.
With Caitlin Clark, and you look at, like, when we talk about resentment, she's just a star coming into a competitive league. If there's any level of resentment, that's why. You look back to Michael Jordan as a rookie, right? He comes into the league, and at the All-Star game, he's quote-unquote iced out by the rest of the veterans in the league. They won't pass him the ball. When LeBron James is coming into the league, his own teammates in Cleveland being interviewed by local news stations saying, yeah, he can join our bandwagon. We have guys at his position who are already better than him. They were the worst team in the NBA. When there's someone who's hyped up in your league and you're a competitor that's made it to the professional heights of your sport, of course there's going to be a little bit of, I want to shut that person down. I don't think that any of it has to do with like lifting up the sport or ratings or any of that. It's just competitors being competitive.
But why is the resentment so hard to understand? Of course, athletes would have resentment when someone else comes in and gets all the glory. They laid the foundation. They laid down everything for Caitlin Clark to be able to have this platform. And so, yeah, at times they understand it and they appreciate that Caitlin Clark has brought a lot of eyeballs to the WNBA. But of course they're going to be resentful. And why wouldn't they? And who cares if they are? I mean, seriously.
Outrage is all good for the sport. All of this is good for the sport. We can welcome the idiots and have more in the tent.
I agree that like it's good that there's a larger conversation happening around the league, but I don't know if it's good for the sport for there to be this much pressure on one player. Like I would hope that if there are new eyeballs on the Fever because of Caitlin Clark, they're also then going to expand and be interested in the sport itself, not just the player itself, right? And I don't know, like, I don't know how you gauge that or measure that or how you do that, but I think that's really the job of the WNBA and of the commissioner is to figure out, like, if there is this influx of new fans because she was a great player that everyone watched in college, how do we get them to stick around and stay? And if you're having these constant conversations on ESPN largely and other networks just about Caitlin Clark, I don't know if that is a great thing.
But it's not just ESPN, right? So last night, and this is a delight. Look, man, if you've not been watching what happens in sports media, okay, black women are at the end of the line in where it is that opportunities present themselves. To see Monica McNutt on The Daily Show after saying of Stephen A. Smith, I thought we had a deep enough friendship that I could challenge you. I could challenge my friends. Monica McNutt has become a star here recently, and there are a lot of people covering this sport with expertise and personality that make the shows better and more informed than a great deal of what it is that you're watching, where you're like, oh, these women had to be really good to get where they are. They can't do it the way the men have done it so easy. And so you see Monica McNutt transition easily to arguing with Stephen A. Smith after doing a lot of work for the Knicks, after being on Around the Horn, and now she's on The Daily Show last night, and she's saying to Jon Stewart, let's be honest, if not for Caitlin Clark, I'm not sitting here. And he says, no, that's not true. And Jon Stewart, it is true. She would not have been on your show Monday if Caitlin Clark weren't an avatar for men now want to talk about this too. And we just got here and we're going to be the experts and we're going to tell Monica McNutt what she doesn't know because we just got here and Caitlin Clark dumb snub.
Well, she also likely wouldn't have been on the show had she not challenged Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah. Correct. And this is what it looks like to have that sport bring power to everybody around it so you can now hear all the voices, and oftentimes those voices are going to make the old established men look and sound dumb because we just got here and we don't know what we're talking about. Anything that passes for expertise on your television from most of the men talking about this is bluster, and it's whatever it is they can fill the content space because they need to talk about this thing, not because for the most part. I shouldn't say this about everybody because it's not true of everybody. For most of us, it's true of me, and I recognize it in my brethren when I find that they need something to talk about and they need to figure out how to do it on television.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the traditional like yelling sports take model really engages longtime fans of the WNBA and of women's sports. Like I struggle to see how that is something that people that I know and that I'm friends with and that I connect with, how that like really relates to them and includes them. So that's, I think, a misstep is just doing the same thing but worse for a new sport that they haven't watched.
Greg, you seem to want to get in there the whole time, and now you have nothing when I look at you.
Okay, because you looked
This
at
is
me.
the new and
You looked at me
unimproved Dan
too
Le
late.
Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Greg, do you realize that while I was counting us in, you just fumbled with your microphone in a way that suggested you had no earthly idea that I was counting us in?
I heard counting in the background. I thought like a rocket was about to take off at Cape Canaveral or something. I wasn't sure exactly what was being counted down.
Are you a
I
countdown or a
apologize.
count up guy, Greg?
I'm a countdown guy.
Yeah?
I like a good
I love
10,
a
9, 8.
countdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
10,
count
9,
up,
8.
Billy? I mean,
Sometimes.
Well, if you're taking a
Weird.
photo of somebody, are
Right.
you a 1,
3,
2,
2, 1.
3, or 3, 2, 1?
3, 2, 1
Yeah,
for
you
me.
gotta
Yeah,
go
see?
3, 2, 1.
It's always a
Yeah.
4 count too, because then is the photo.
Right,
It's
cheese.
3, 2, 1.
Right.
Photo.
I don't perk up until I hear the word one.
Right.
Really?
Yeah,
You don't want
yeah.
to waste the smile.
That's when you
Exactly.
start taking things seriously.
Yeah, that's
because
when
you
the-
were pounding on that keyboard right before Dan got to
You know
it.
what?
Yeah.
I'm trying to multitask. You know, I'm a man of many jobs.
Checking downloads.
Many hats. No, I was, you know, I don't want to get in the weeds here, but I was texting back a Miami Herald related text,
Wow.
and, you know, it's important stuff.
Little inside info.
Yeah, that
Scoop
kind of
here.
thing. So forth and so on, you know?
Yeah.
I wish we had your undivided attention. I know you're very
You
great.
do now.
I
I'll
know
tell
you're
you that.
You
perfect.
said one. I
You're
mean,
perfect just the way that you are, but I do wish you concentrated on this job that we're paying you for while you were here. But I understand why you would take your work of the last 20, 30 minutes or so and say, no, I nailed it. I'm perfect at everything happening around here. I don't need to get any better.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, let me draw an analogy to hockey. Okay, when the two guys are about to take a face-off, but the puck hasn't been thrown down yet.
Right.
The music is still playing. Why? Because the clock's not running until the face-off actually starts. When I hear Dan counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, the music's still playing because the show hasn't resumed.
Right.
When I hear 1, my rabbit ears perk up. Here I go.
Game face. Red light Cody.
Hold on.
When the red light goes on, he starts coughing violently because he's always ready for the moment. Hold on. Let's let him. We don't want him to pass out here. Just get it all out, Greg.
Yeah.
Get it all out. Don't hold your breath.
This might be the last
Don't
one.
hold your breath. Just get all of it out.
I'm good now. I've been fighting. I'm over medicated. I've been fighting issues. My
Sure.
bronchial issues are really. When I have a cold on top of what I deal with every day, it's really tough for me. And what a trooper I've been.
Yeah.
today.
You have been. Plus, you took a
Seriously.
victory lap. I mean, yeah. I
Like
mean,
heck.
He's got the asthma inhaler.
I was going to say, Dan, in your defense, he's really hurting right now.
Let's let him have this out because he's passed out a couple of times. There have
sure
been
he's
a
okay.
couple of times
You okay?
we've worn out the workhorse today.
Edit out all this
No,
coughing.
we're going to leave it all in, including you fiddling with the microphone at the very beginning of it.
I apologize.
The
No,
rabbit ears were up, though. in
Take
his
your time,
defense.
Greg. Please stop panicking.
Take your
stop.
time.
Please take your time.
We've got it.
Get the asthma inhaler. Do not pass out again because you're coughing too much. It's happened twice already because you get self-conscious. Please just take it easy.
I was going to say. Hold on.
Ripped
Now
it
I'm
like a
concerned.
bong.
I'm
Don't
concerned. Hold on.
Is that a pipe?
stifle it. Don't try and stifle
Just let it out, Greg. It'll feel good. Yeah. Anyway, I
Got
was
a cough to
saying
get
is,
off.
Even at like 5-4, the guys for the face-off before a hockey game, they're ready. They're
Yes.
in position.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Stugotz.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
In your
Yes.
defense.
Yes.
Dan.
Thank you,
Yes.
Stugotz. Yes.
Helmets are on, sticks are in
Everyone
hand.
is ready.
They're
Yes.
ready at 5.
Yes, they're ready to play. But Greg takes his time and takes the leisurely route and is so good at this. Again, so perfect at it that he can wait till the very last second, and then when the red light comes on, rabbit ears, he's ready to go. Thank you, Billy. Billy knows. But the last couple of days, because we've had a fun couple of shows, there have been a handful of topics that I really wanted to get to that I did not. And so I will allow you guys to pick one of these. It's one of 6 things I've wanted to talk about.
One and only one.
One and only one.
Wow.
Now, Jason Kelsey says that he does not wash his feet. And this is something all over culturally, all over. People are looking at Jason Kelce, and they are questioning the hygiene of white people because of this. Okay. This is different America, so that is on the table. I learned this weekend, this is something I did not know. Kiki Hernandez was wired for sound and made an error while wired for sound. And they said, do you regret that? And he's like, no, I like money. He gets paid $10,000 for wearing that wire, $15,000 during the postseason. It's not something that I knew until that moment. I love Wired for Sound. It's real, actual access to the players.
Okay.
In Texas.
So Kiki Wire is another option.
Yes, I'm going to give you 6 of them, and I want you to choose one of them, one and only one.
Kelce.
In Texas, the recruits are walking into the facility, and there are Lamborghinis everywhere. And I just delight in the fact that Johnny Manziel got in trouble for autograph sessions, and now we're at just Lamborghinis outside. So I want to get to that, but it's up to you whether or not we get to that or not, because there, as I said, there are a number of things that I wanted to talk about here. The Savannah Bananas sold out a game at Fenway Park. The resurgence of minor league baseball through this uniquely creative thing is something that I'm interested in, but I don't know if you're interested in it at all. J-Lo canceling her tour.
Wow.
I thought, what? What are you doing there?
Oh, I'm a J-Lo hater. It's canon.
Everyone hates J-Lo now. I've been confused by that.
I've been there for years, Dan.
No, but a lot of people are there, and I'm legitimately confused by it. I don't know if that interests you guys at all. Does it? Does it interest anyone
find
here?
out. We still have one more option.
Yeah, that was 4 ticket sales.
That's
right?
5. You said
Spin
6.
the
wheel?
Should we spin the wheel?
Right now, I have Jason Kelce. I have Kiki Wire. I have Texas Lambos. I have Savannah Bananas. I have J-Lo.
And the other one was Eddie Hall, the world's strongest man, had a fight in an octagon with 2 opponents, and he won. And the video I thought was amazing. Because he's fighting 2 guys at once in MMA. He's
looked like me and Jeremy were trying to fight him.
He's much bigger than both of them. Yes, but the knockout was still impressive. These are fighters. These are professional fighters. They are smaller than him, but it went poorly for the both of them. So those are the 6 topics. You're allowed to pick one and only one. Who gets to pick?
Do we discuss this? Like, is there one that stuck out for you guys? What do you think?
I vote for Greg to pick.
Well, there's a clear choice for me. If I saw that guy at the beach, I'd go, have a salad, will you? But yet, he is.
The world's strongest man.
Yeah,
have a salad is what you'd say.
Do you want your options again?
No, I know them. And for me, it's Kelce's feet, without any question whatsoever. But
Jason Kelce definitely doesn't get enough attention, so that's a good choice. Yep.
But I'm willing to go anywhere.
No, you can choose that. Chris Cody has been mocked by Roy and others because he doesn't wash below the knees. It's just the water runs down there, and that's what's taking care of it. It's foul for a number of different reasons.
If I'm dirty, if I just played golf and my ankles are dirty, I will. But on a normal shower, if there's no dirt down there, just let the water.
Do you guys have different levels of shower? Because all dependent on what my activity was for the day, take a different level of care in the shower.
Well,
right?
I think Chris just acknowledged that.
Yeah.
That if he's playing baseball, he will bend down. And
right,
wash
but if
his
there's
ankles.
just a day where all right, I showered the day before, and all I've done is run out to Publix, and I just air conditioning.
Then I just won't shower.
But if hey, I'm coming into work the next day or something like that, you want to take a shower, but it's I'm not gonna clean every crevice of my toes.
Chris Cody learned whatever it was to be learned here. Learned poorly from at the unwashed feet of a man who literally washes his hair, shampoos it in the pool because he does not know.
Not de rigueur.
Let me explain to you, Jeremy, how disgusting all of this is. That so many people do not know how to clean themselves. Even if I'm allowing you the liberty of choosing from time to time, depending on your activities, the person birthing this discussion is an offensive lineman. What he's doing daily is disgusting. His feet out of those socks must be a horror. And the idea that man does not clean his feet is an offense to hygiene everywhere.
Yeah, he's in pain, man. I mean, it's hard to bend for Jason Kelce.
So you're scrubbing your feet and ankles every shower?
No, I did not.
If I were an offensive lineman,
I did not say
he's
that.
Not an offensive.
No,
he's a podcaster, which might be.
That's also true.
More
his
disgusting.
socks every day are disgusting. Every
Lewis's
day.
socks right now after walking out in the rain.
His point was he washes the hot spots.
The between the toes is a hot spot when you're an offensive lineman.
No,
I don't
you're
think
a
so.
LeBatard over here, a spokesman for the soap industry.
Where are your hot spots, Dad?
Big
Where do you
soap,
wash?
yeah.
There's only 3 areas you have to watch.
3 areas.
Yeah, under one pit, under the other pit,
Yep.
and the region.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
That's all.
That's a
And
disaster.
the crack of the, and quite frankly, the crack of the ass. Don't sleep on the
That's
crack
one-
of the
Oh,
ass.
no, you got to clean
Yeah,
the
have
crack.
to.
That's one
you
region.
have
No,
to.
you have to.
Very
That's
important.
the region. I thought that was the.
So that's 4 then,
No,
I
that's
guess.
the other
totally.
region.
Quite frankly, the crack of the ass.
But you know what? I have gone 10 years without touching my toes in a shower.
We can tell.
I mean, it's unless I'm working barefoot in the yard, I don't feel the need to soap.
Do me a
lather
favor,
between my
please.
toes.
Put it on the poll, Juju at LeBatard Show. Have you gone 10 years without touching your toes in the shower? And also, the episode description on this must have the phrase "and the crack of your ass."
Yeah, you have to. You keep the gooch clean.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
He's right.
Oh, you
Lewis,
do.
say that in your ear.
And
He said it in
the
mine,
crack
and I
of your
rejected
ass.
it.
I mean,
Gucci man.